But first, it's barely 2 months since Australia's carbon tax came into effect, amid much division and debate. But now the government has unveiled a significant change. It's linked the scheme to the world's biggest carbon market, the European Union. That means that, for the time being at least, the price of carbon for Australian business will fall, and with it, the amount of revenue the government will raise. From Canberra, political editor Catherine McGrath.
Australia's carbon pricing system came into operation 2 months ago.
Doing something about climate change.
The current carbon price is set at a fixed $23 a tonne, due to float in 2015 with a floor price of $15. But now the scheme will be linked to the European Union scheme, and the floor price has been dumped. For one key reason, the EU carbon price is under $10 a tonne.
The EU carbon market, with which we will link, is the largest carbon market in the world, and the EU collectively is the third largest greenhouse gas emitter internationally.
The changes come into play in 2 years.
The linking of the two emissions trading schemes will be achieved by a one-way link from the 1st of July 2015, whereby Australian businesses will be able to buy emissions permits in the EU ETS for compliance in the Australian scheme. And secondly, it'll be achieved by the negotiation of a two-way link between the two schemes to start by the 1st of July 2018.
Look, I think it had to happen. I think there were problems with the design of the floor price, and the world carbon price is just so much lower than people anticipated. So, by and large, I think it's a good improvement. Probably a bit early in the carbon price that we'd expect people to be tinkering, but the sooner the better, I think.
The design of the Australian carbon pricing scheme, aimed at cutting greenhouse gas emissions, was established by a parliamentary committee that included the Greens and two key lower house independents. It's been controversial from the start. Opposition leader Tony Abbott has fought it and promised to repeal it should he win the next election.
The government's announcement this afternoon shows that the carbon tax has been in for less than 2 months, and already the government has admitted that they have got it fundamentally wrong.
And the opposition has made much of this promise by the Prime Minister in the run-up to the last election.
There will be no carbon tax under the government I lead.
You can just imagine, can't you, the Prime Minister going into the next election saying there will be no floor price under the government I lead.
But Climate Change Minister Greg Combet believes the link-up with the EU and the changes improve the system.
We will not proceed with the floor price that was to come into effect from the 1st of July 2015. The linking agreement has always been our policy intention, and we've stated it on many occasions. The changes that I'm announcing today apply for the period post 1 July 2015, but I'd also like to make it clear that it will be possible from today for Australian businesses to buy European permits for compliance in the Australian scheme from 2015-16 and beyond.
The Greens party entered a power-sharing arrangement with Labor after the last election on the condition Labor adopted a carbon pricing scheme. Their leader, Christine Milne, welcomed the EU agreement.
And today's announcement that we will be linking the scheme that we've developed and legislated with the European Union is good news indeed. That means that the Australian scheme will be linked with 500 million people in the EU. It advances the cause of global emissions trading, which is ultimately what we've all been hoping for. And what we're doing is actually improving the scheme that we legislated, and it will give long-term idea to business, some certainty, some stability, because they'll be looking at the European price.
Europe is not the world. China has no such carbon tax. The United States has no such carbon tax. Japan has no such carbon tax. India has no such carbon tax. Taiwan and Korea have no such carbon taxes in place. This just emphasises how wrong the government got it when it brought in this bad tax based on a lie.
The European Union says the deal assists both parties and illustrates the benefits of international cooperation in cutting carbon pollution.